My name is Tian Hao, with the courtesy name Mangfu. Tian belongs to two neighboring Old Wangs, and Hao is someone who shows great disrespect to heaven. Now he has joined the Huashan Sect, but Master Yue Buqun has always looked at him strangely every day since he studied the Sunflower Classic. Divine martial arts in the north, cultivation of demons in the Tao heart, flying immortals beyond the sky, magic sword full moon, 7 stars in Longquan, heavenly sword bright moon, cold heart against the water, swordsman love, youth singing, tomb king Qilin. In this complex world of swordsmen, Tian Hao wants to build a big boss template, practice the strongest muscles, build the strongest martial arts, fold the thickest armor, use the largest sword, cut everything and explode everything, and create a Xintiandi. I am more than 10,000 a day, updating awesome, and have more than 4 million words of novels. Please feel free to read them. Q Group 8260378891, those interested can join the pit for communication. Keywords of the novel. Starting from Jianghu, horizontally promoting martial arts without pop-ups, starting from Jianghu, horizontally promoting martial arts. Download the complete set of TXT, starting from Jianghu, horizontally promoting martial arts. Read the latest chapters of martial arts. Chapter 1. Huashan Blacksmith. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Huashan Blacksmith 80. When? 80. When? In the spacious stone chamber, a burly young man continuously swung a large iron hammer, hitting the burnt red iron block heavily. Every time, there will be a burst of strength, exhale and shout out 80, and then slowly condense the strength to prepare for the next burst. The hammer swung was also quite frightening, although it didn't weigh as much as the 80 it was shouting, it definitely weighed 30.40 pounds. Swinging such a heavy hammer shows the strength of the young man. The most important thing is that young people have amazing endurance, continuously swinging their feet 30.6 times before stopping with each burst of strength assistance, and only breathing a little too quickly. Master. Mother. Putting down the sledgehammer in his hand, Tian Hao picked up the towel beside him, wiped his sweat, and greeted the middle-aged couple who had been in for a while. Those two were his master and mother, the Huashan gentleman sword Yue Buqun and the Huashan jade maiden Lingshan. Let's drink this bowl of chicken soup first, I'll make it for you. With a smile, Lingshan opened the wooden box on the stone table, revealing the chicken soup inside, including many medicinal materials, which is obviously a kind of tonic diet for great tonic. Mom, you're biased. Why are you so good to the little mouse? I didn't see you on my birthday a few days ago. You made me babao zhentang. Yu Lingshan, who was following her mother, immediately became indifferent when she saw the pot of chicken soup. Babao zhentang is not simple. It needs to be boiled with 8 precious medicinal herbs, and the chicken used is also a medicinal chicken raised from a young age with medicinal herbs. After successful boiling, it can greatly nourish muscles and bones, and repair hidden injuries. Even though they have only raised a dozen or so Huashan pie, their parents are usually reluctant to eat one, but now they have stewed one for that guy. She felt like that guy was the biological one of her parents, she was just an adoptive. If you could swing this iron hammer thousands of times every day like your Hao junior brother, my father will have your mother stew babao zhentang for you tonight. Yue Buqun glared angrily and immediately picked up the iron block that was still emitting high temperature with an iron clip to carefully observe. I'm not swinging a sledgehammer. Hiding behind her mother, the girl was immediately attracted by the tempting aroma and licked her pink lips, her bright eyes fixed on the bowl of 8 treasure soup. Junior brother Hao, please share some with me. Babao zhentang is a good thing. It not only tastes delicious, but also helps to nourish the body and cultivate internal and external skills. Drinking a bowl is equivalent to one's own month of hard work. Here. Tian Hao generously pulled down a chicken paw and handed it over, it was a good thing. Little mouse. Looking at the chicken feet handed to her, Lingshan was so angry that her bright eyes widened. Are you still not a man? Don't eat any more. Lazy to learn about the beauty of chicken feet, Tian Hao stuffed the chicken feet into his mouth and chewed them down. Then, under the girl's enraged gaze, she picked up a 1-foot-sized porcelain bowl and gulped down the chicken soup inside. This is not over yet. I ate all the chicken inside, not even the medicine residue and chicken bones, chewed them up and swallowed them. A stingy person. The girl stomped her feet in anger, feeling quite angry. She is favored by everyone in the Huashan Sect, but she has suffered multiple setbacks in front of this junior brother. Neither one's identity nor one's appearance is valued by the other party. Even my parents are so angry towards that guy. The color is a bit darker than last time. Yue Buqun suddenly spoke, with a smile on his face. Ning Zhongzi also looked at the gray-black iron block with a smile on his face. There is still a lot to go. According to the records in the classics, the black iron is dark with a faint red light, and its density is extremely high, heavier than gold. If I want to refine the meteorite hammer into black iron, I estimate that I need to at least cultivate the embracing yuan strength to the ultimate level. Rinsed his mouth with water, Tian Hao said in frustration. The reason why his master and mother treat him so well is that his skill in forging iron is crucial. Even 3 years ago, he joined the Huashan Sect with this skill. After all, the long sword of the Huashan Sect also needs to be purchased with money. The losses incurred during regular martial arts competitions and when going out to confront enemies are a considerable expense. If it were the peak period of the Huashan Sect, it wouldn't matter, but nowadays, the Huashan Sect has 3 or 2 big cats and 2 small cats, all supported by Yue Buqun and his wife, and they have to save in all aspects. Tian Hao, an outstanding talent capable of crafting weapons, naturally needs to be nurtured well. It can be seen from this that learning a craft well is very important. Although he successfully joined the sect of Laoyu, his own qualifications were too poor to cultivate internal and mental skills, and even practicing external skills was very difficult. There is no way, practicing martial arts requires the most qualifications. With good qualifications, one can achieve twice the result with half the effort, while with poor qualifications, one can achieve twice the result with half the effort. Take your time, don't worry, you're still young. Gently stroking his long beard, Yue Buqun was already very satisfied with it. Xiantai is refined from meteorite, which is not difficult to find. Moreover, their Huashan sect has a long history of inheritance and has collected a considerable amount of meteorite. Although meteorite iron is considered a good material, it can only be considered good. The meteorite iron long sword has limited help for a master like him in the acquired realm. If it is the dark iron long sword, holding it can at least double its combat power. Unfortunately, the black iron is too difficult to extract. It not only requires high strength and craftsmanship from blacksmiths, but more importantly, it requires extremely high flame temperatures. This is also the reason why although there are many meteorites in the martial arts world, black iron is extremely rare. Fortunately, this cheap disciple solved the most difficult problem of flame temperature, and now only his own strength and skills are left to endure. The future is promising. Don't force yourself too hard. You have only been cultivating the Huguan inner strength for less than half a year, and prolonged use can put a lot of pressure on your body. With concern on his face, and even some heartache, he feels regretful in his heart. This disciple has a very difficult life and average qualifications, so he is not suitable for practicing martial arts. But he is very diligent, more diligent than all the disciples in the sect combined. Unfortunately, practicing martial arts places the greatest emphasis on aptitude and comprehension. Both internal and external skills require extremely high standards of aptitude, and cannot be achieved solely through hard work. Unfortunately. Xiaoshijie cares. He smiled and Tian Hao sincerely recognized the master and mother in front of him. Regardless of the performance of Lao Yu in the original work, at least for now, he can be considered a gentleman's sword and is also very good to himself. Rest early. Glancing at the sky outside, Yue Buqun put down the meteorite iron block in his hand, gesturing for Tian Hao to rest early, and then left with his wife. He came here today mainly to see the progress of refining meteorite iron. Although it has not yet been refined into black iron, it has made great progress. The future is promising. Imagine in the future, all members of the Huashan Sect will wield unparalleled black iron long swords to fight against people, and even higher level battles are not a problem. Why are you still keeping it? Sending Lao Yu and his wife out of the cave, Tian Hao looked at Lingshan who had not followed them away. Brother Hao, help me modify this sword. Smiling, he stepped forward and handed the long sword in his hand. When it's okay, it's just a little mouse. When it's okay, it's just junior brother Hao. Tian Hao expressed disdain for the girl's face-changing behavior and did not care at all about her identity as a girl. As a newcomer to the new era, he firmly believes in gender equality. I can bear it. The contemptuous gaze made Lingshan's teeth itch with anger, but in order to modify the sword, she endured it. Chang. Good sword. Drawing his sword out of its sheath, a faint green light reflected on his head. Tian Hao's eyes lit up and he exclaimed in admiration. As a blacksmith with a heritage, his vision is naturally not bad. The blade in front of him is emerald green, like a pool of spring water, inevitably mixed with some precious metal, and the strength of the blade will far exceed that of ordinary steel. It's a rare sword. How do you want to change it? Upon closer examination, Tian Hao looked at the young girl beside him. This blue water sword was a gift from my dad on my birthday, but the handle is not very convenient. Can you help me modify it? Hurriedly expressing her own requirements, Lingshan values them very much. A handy weapon can better unleash the power of swordsmanship. Without Tian Hao's presence, one can only endure it, but since there is this resource, one must make good use of it. Put your hand over and let me take a look. Raising his palm, Tian Hao gestured for the girl to reach out. The hilt is a part for people to grip. Compared to Lingshan's delicate palm, the hilt of the blue water sword is indeed thicker and longer, and needs to be modified according to the hand shape. As a child of the martial arts world, Lingshan has no taboos and extends her plain white hand with ease. Just as the skin on the back of the girl's hand touched Tian Hao's calloused palm, an ancient mirror suddenly appeared. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Xiaoshijie card external plugin launch. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Xiaoshijie card external plugin launch. Tian Hao is a traveler who came out of the global village and crossed into this martial arts world, carrying a golden finger with him. The golden finger is called the anti-heavenly mirror, with 30.6 gemstones on the edge of the mirror body. The mirror surface can display Tian Hao's 3 innate attributes of essence, energy, and spirit, as well as a special destiny attribute. Unfortunately, this thing can only display his own innate attributes, and the rest are useless. After more than 10 years of exploration, there is no result. He had been hesitating before whether to continue living in the Huashan Sect. After all, the enemies that the Huashan Sect needed to face were a bit small. There was a threat from the Sun and Moon Demon cult outside, and the Song Mountain Sect was watching closely inside. It seemed that there were also problems with Shaolin and Wudong, and he even had his own kind of scam like Linghu Chong. The future is worrying. Fortunately, the golden finger that he was about to give up finally changed today. Lingshan God. 15 Qi. 11 Essence. 8 Life. 60 on the mirror surface, which originally only revealed Tian Hao's innate attributes. Another attribute appeared for the first time, which was Lingshan's. I'll just say there's only a waste traveler, no waste's golden finger. After being stunned, Tian Hao became excited. It has been 18 years, a full 18 years, and finally new functions have been explored. Although the specific purpose is not yet known, it can at least be considered as progress. Under strong pressure and patience, he felt excited and pretended to observe Lingshan's palm calmly, but in reality, he was looking at the sky-facing mirror. Only he can see the sky mirror, and no one else can see it. He is not afraid of being seen by Lingshan. There is also a percentage download bar after the name, and the fate attribute is also negative. Is this a condition for triggering the anti-sky mirror? Comparing his innate attributes, Tian Hao immediately discovered the differences. My innate attribute is a bit pitiful, completely incomparable to Lingshan. On the contrary, my destiny attribute is also negative, but his one is even stronger, negative 100, while Lingshan's destiny attribute is only negative 60. Fate, is it fate? Looking at the words and guessing the meaning, I quickly remembered the fate of Lingshan in the original work, which was indeed a tragic comparison. It was not easy to get married, but the husband wielded a knife to become a sisters with her. The father also wielded a knife to die in the palace. The mother killed herself and was stabbed to death by her husband Lin Pingji. I just don't know when Lin Pingji went to the palace, whether before or after marriage. If it was before marriage, it would be even more difficult, and I haven't even experienced a woman's happiness. Tragedy is at home. In addition to that destiny attribute, there is also something similar to a download bar after Lingshan's name, with a number of 1.5% inside, which later became 1.6%. At this moment, the girl withdrew her palm, leaving Tian Hao surprised. At the same time, she noticed that the download bar had also stopped, as if the internet had been disconnected. This makes him very unhappy, very unhappy. Just take a look at the hand shape, do you need to see it for so long? Her bright eyes were full of vigilance, and Lingshan noticed that this guy was very wrong, possibly a color embryo. I used to misread myself. I'm not interested in a washboard like you that has no chest, no PP, and no pages. You're already 18 years old, and your chest muscles aren't as big as mine. Seeing the girl's vigilance, Tian Hao unabashedly handed over a contemptuous gaze once again. You bastard. Following Tian Hao's gaze, the girl lowered her head and instantly blushed, so angry that she wanted to chop someone off. No woman can tolerate such words, and naturally she can't. The most infuriating thing is that she still can't refute it. That guy's chest muscles are indeed big, bigger than hers. I'm really angry. There are iron bars of different diameters there, go find the one that makes your palm grip the most comfortable. Pointing towards a pile of iron bars in the corner, Tian Hao ignored the girl's anger and gestured for her to go over and search, while continuing to study the changes in the sky-defying mirror. Sooner or later, I'll shave you bald. After muttering a few words, Lingshan finally walked towards the pile of iron rods of varying thicknesses, picked up one and used the Huashan sword technique. Not satisfied, she continued to try another one. The download has stopped. Do you need to hold that girl's hand to continue downloading online? And with this download speed, it will take at least half an hour to complete. It's not easy to hold that girl's hand for half an hour. Frowning and pondering, although Tian Hao still didn't know what would happen when the download bar was full, it was bound to be beneficial to himself. And this is the only change that has been explored in over a decade, we cannot give up. It's not easy to hold on to that girl's palm for half an hour. It's bound to be considered impolite, and maybe Lao Yu will clean up the door after he finds out. We need to create an opportunity. Turning his head to look at the young girl selecting an iron rod, Tian Haoxing's eyes were filled with greed. That's it, it feels great. After a while, Lingshan walked towards with satisfaction holding an iron rod. The thickness of the iron rod perfectly matched her palm, allowing her to exert more force. If the handle of the blue water sword could be made like this, it would be perfect. I will make the changes as soon as possible. Taking the iron rod and looking at it, Tian Hao signaled that the girl could leave. By the way, you can use meteorite iron to make a long sword, make it good, and when senior brother comes back, I will personally give it to him. Thinking of her senior brother who had been away for months, Lingshan was filled with longing and sweetness. For a moment, a sour smell exclusive to love filled the air, making a single dog nearby feel a bit flustered. Show your love, die fast. With a deep sigh, Tian Hao felt it was his duty to make the junior sister realize the cruelty of reality. Make it better. With a warning, Lingshan turned around and walked outward, but just a few steps away, a cry of surprise came to her ears. Be careful. Bang. Before she could react, there was a pain in her back neck, and then the girl's mind went dizzy in front of her. However, after years of practicing martial arts, her instinct made her raise her leg to counterattack, and then her ankle was caught, making it even more difficult to stabilize her body with one leg. Her mind couldn't hold on and she fell into a coma, still landing on her face first. It's so close. Clamping tightly against the slender yet powerful legs of the young senior sister, Tian Hao muttered to himself, it's very dangerous. Just now, after he struck a knife with his hand, he intended to come forward and help the little senior sister, who was about to collapse. However, he was hit by a wolf defense technique, which almost met the entry requirements for practicing the sunflower manual and missed the best opportunity to help the little senior sister. Hurriedly squatting down to check, and only breathed a sigh of relief after confirming that the young senior sister was not in any serious way. Although he wanted an unconscious senior sister to do some small experiments, he didn't want to harm her. Just now, after wielding the knife, everyone planned to step forward and support her. Who would have thought that the young senior sister's counterattack instinct was so strong that she could even come up before falling into a coma? This was really not intentional. Seeing the young senior sister breathing steadily, Tian Hao grabbed the plain white hand and waited for the download bar to finish, while also trying to increase the internet speed. My previous guess was correct. Skin contact is a condition for networking, and it's not just palm contact, but also contact with other parts. Increasing the contact area and depth cannot increase the internet speed. Negative review. After some attempts, Tian Hao gave a negative review directly when he saw that the download speed on the reverse mirror had not changed at all. Half an hour later, the download bar was successful and turned into a photo of Lingshan. It was a black and white photo, a bit scary and inauspicious, but it matched well with the negative destiny attribute. In addition, the innate attributes belonging to Lingshan have not changed much, except for a gemstone on the edge of the anti-sky mirror shining brightly, as if it has been activated. Can each gem correspond to one person? If lost in thought, Tian Hao's mind moved and the data on the mirror changed to his innate attributes. It's quite unlucky to have the same black and white 3-inch photo at first. Tian Hao God. 2.5 plus 15 Qi. 0.1 plus 11 Precision. 2.5 plus 8 Life. 100.60, as expected, the numerical value can increase, except for the Life attribute. Looking at the brand new innate attributes, Tian Hao was excited and wanted to dance. His innate attribute was originally only before the plus sign, which used to be 0 after the plus sign, but now it has changed and happens to be the same as Lingshan's innate attribute value. Obviously, the true use of the sky reversing mirror is to superimpose her innate attributes on herself, but it seems a bit picky. He used to touch people a lot before, even his senior brother Ling Hu Chong had touched them. When he entered Mount Hua, Lao Yu even personally touched his bones, but those people did not elicit the reaction of the sky-defying mirror. It seems that the problem lies in that destiny attribute. Do we need a girl who is forced by fate to trigger it? Looking thoughtfully at Lingshan on the ground, he immediately thought of the teacher's mother. Without further thought, pat the young senior sister's smooth and pretty face. Junior sister, wake up, wake up. His eyebrows furrowed, but he didn't respond to the light tap. Tian Hao stood up and scooped a bucket of cold water from the bucket, swallowing it in his mouth. Then, Qiyundan Tian suddenly spewed out. Still awake. My eyebrows furrowed even tighter. Since cold water doesn't work thinking of this, Tian Hao turned his head to look at the boiling kettle on the stove, quickly stopping the restless thoughts. He bent down to prepare for a wave of artificial respiration on the young senior sister, and then reacted. Artificial respiration seems to be used for people who have stopped breathing, so we need to quickly send it to our master and mother. Without any delay, Tian Hao quickly picked up the young senior sister's light body and rushed to the yard of her master and mother. Tian Hao. Lu Dayo, who had just emerged from the thatched cottage, looked at Tian Hao running past him and then turned his gaze to Lingshan on his shoulder. Junior sister. He remembers that kind of dress. During the day, the little junior sister was wearing that outfit. Why was that guy carrying her away, brother Hao? What did that guy do to my junior sister? Thinking of this, Lu Dayo's face immediately darkened. For better development, before being put on the shelves, I will change twice a day. After being put on the shelves, I will make up for the missing 10,000 word commitment every day. Newcomers and new books kneel down for support, and your support is my greatest motivation. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Horizontal Crab Iron Cloth Shirt. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Horizontal Crab Iron Cloth Shirt. How could it be hurt like this? Looking at the wound on the bridge of his daughter's nose, Yue Buqun frowned. Little senior sister had bad luck. A stone on the top of the forging room fell off and hit her body, then she fainted. When her face was on the ground, she was scratched on the bridge of her nose by a piece of gravel on the ground. The disciple slapped his face but didn't wake up, so he quickly carried it over to ask his master and mother for treatment with a serious and deceitful tone. Tian Hao's bite to death was an accident, not just because he knocked out his senior sister. And besides attacking the junior sister with that knife, he didn't do anything else. He even kindly wanted to help, but who would have thought the junior sister could instinctively counterattack in that situation, be delayed, and then fall to the ground. Old Yu was speechless. Did your precious daughter have such bad luck today? Shaner is fine, she can recover after a period of cultivation. At this moment, Ning Zhongzi, who had examined the wound on his daughter's nose, stood up and immediately looked angrily at Tian Hao. Women are not burlap bags, they can't be carried like that, they have to be held horizontally. If you continue like this, how will you find a wife in the future? She was also quite helpless about this disciple's straightforwardness, as if there was no distinction between male and female in the other person's mind, even if she didn't take a second look at her own daughter's appearance. Just now, carrying her own daughter, she quickly ran over with her shoulders pressed against her abdomen. Coupled with intense turbulence, the girl instinctively vomited as soon as she was put down, feeling very embarrassed. If this kind of experience is to be dealt with by someone else's girl, I will definitely break off my friendship with you. Women and everything else are troublesome, they only affect my speed of practicing. With a face full of rejection, Tian Hao dislikes interacting with women, especially beautiful ones. As an elite player in my past life, I worked hard to form a team with a group of fox friends. In the end, my teammates were all seduced by girls and eventually became a bear rod commander. The most frustrating thing is that an ant even came over to harass him, asking so many questions that he was extremely annoyed. Miao's eyes narrowed slightly, but Ning Zhongzi always felt that the boy had something to say. The atmosphere in the room sank for a moment, and as he watched his wife's increasingly hostile expression, even Yue Buqun couldn't help but shiver. He quickly went to the study inside and took out a stack of paper drafts and a can of medicinal oil. The embracing Yuan strength is indeed too profound and difficult for you to practice. This time, I went out with your master to find a cultivation secret for the iron cloth shirt for you, as well as the method of borrowing strength that you need. I originally intended to deduce and transcribe it, and then give it to you after confirming that there were no hidden dangers or omissions. Since you came today, I will bring it back for enlightenment. The second half of the secret script will be given to you after the teacher confirms that it is correct. And this jar of Asan's divine oil is enough to help you cultivate the iron cloth shirt to the entry-level. He is very dedicated to Tian Hao's cultivation, and the improvement of his own strength can accelerate the forging of meteorite iron. Unfortunately, the power of embracing the yuan is too profound and difficult to understand. Neither of them has practiced, only one secret book. With Tian Hao's qualifications, practicing to the level of Xiaocheng is enough, let alone the level of Deshang. Coincidentally, the iron cloth shirt has an effective external function of horizontal training to assist in the cultivation of holding energy and improve physical strength, especially in the area of skin film. Thank you, Master and Mother. Tian Hao was overjoyed and quickly took the paper manuscript, feeling extremely grateful in his heart. Huaijia martial arts can be divided into 3 categories: literary practice, martial arts practice, and horizontal practice. Among the 3, Chinese practice is the most difficult, followed by horizontal practice, and martial arts practice is the easiest. Baoyuan Jin is a literary and practical external skill, which focuses on the condensed use of strength and requires extremely high qualifications and understanding. It is not friendly to mediocre people like him. Compared to iron cloth shirts, this type of horizontal external skill is much better. As long as you are willing to work hard, you can quickly see the effect. Of course, this thing is also easy to get started with, and if you want to cultivate it successfully, it will take 10 to 20 years of hard work, and it will require a lot of resources. Fortunately, I already have cheats on my body, so I should be able to quickly complete them. Master, you just mentioned that there are many types of iron cloth shirts. And why is this medicinal oil called a Sanshan oil? Keenly grasping the key points in Lao Yu's words, Tian Hao really doesn't know much about this aspect. And the name of that San divine oil sounds strange, just like a kind of divine medicine in a previous life. Well, the effect seems to be similar, all of which are used to help improve body hardness. I don't know if it's a secret medicine passed from Asan. Iron cloth shirts were originally a martial art in the military, but after being passed down, they were combined with various secret medicines, techniques, and even internal mental techniques by martial artists, and modified into multiple versions. It is unclear how many types of iron cloth shirts are used as teachers in the martial arts world today. The iron cloth shirt I found for you is called the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt. It is said to have been created based on the theory of river crab molting, which can help practitioners continuously shed dead skin caused during the cultivation process, and the skin after molting is also more resilient. The founder of the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt was named Asan, and the medicinal oil was also created by him, so later generations named it after him. With a smile, Yue Buqun explained that he had put in a lot of effort for this set of iron cloth shirt before, and it took him a lot of effort to trade it with an internal mental skill. In addition, there is also a matching prescription, and the jar of Sanshan oil was made by him according to the prescription. When practicing, just apply it evenly to the skin. The Eagle Claw Monument Slayer is also good for cultivation. I know you don't like that kind of convoluted secret script, but I have already corrected it for you. If you have any questions, come and ask. Ning Zhong, whose expression had changed from gloomy to clear, reminded her that they had previously obtained those 2 secret scripts and had separately comprehended them. Her husband's cultivation was higher and he had comprehended the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt. She had a poor cultivation level, so she was responsible for comprehending the Eagle Claw Monument Slayer and turning it into that kind of easy-to-understand vernacular language, making it easier to understand cultivation. And this kind of martial arts with borrowed strength was previously requested by Tian Hao, saying it would help with forging with a hammer, but it was not a big deal for them. After all, they are just external martial arts, and you can get them at a cost. Thank you, Master and Mother. I have returned to practice. Sincere thanks. Tian Hao happily exited the room. Sigh. Yue Buqun suddenly let out a sigh, his face gloomy. What's wrong? Concerned, Ning Zhong didn't understand why her husband suddenly sighed. Back then, as the leader of the 5 sacred sword sect, Huashan could almost compete with Shaolin and Wudang. Nowadays, disciples who want to learn martial arts from other families have to go out and search for them. Recalling the glory of the Huashan sect back then, Yue Buqun felt a bit tempted to chop people down. As the leader of the 5 sacred sword sect, the cultural heritage of the Huashan sect is naturally far beyond imagination, possessing a plethora of martial arts. Although it is not as exaggerated as the 70.2 unique skills of Shaolin Temple, it is enough for disciples to cultivate and also collect some martial arts from the martial arts world. For example, in the case of Tai Bushan, their Huashan sect collected 6 or 7 types of external martial arts, similar to the Eagle Claw Monument Slayer, which is even more unknown. Unfortunately, after the Battle of Sword Chi, the sword sect couldn't afford to lose, and in the end, they burned down the library, burning down many secret books inside. In addition, the senior members of the sect suffered heavy casualties and lost many unique skills. The Huashan 9 skills, which were originally able to cultivate to the postnatal level, now only have 3 types left. Zixia Divine Skill, Huashan Internal Skill, and Hunyuan Skill. Swordsmanship is also often lost, and the decline of the Huashan sect is the result of those artificial sins. Sigh. Silent for a long time, with a faint sigh, Ning Zhongzi didn't know how to evaluate the actions of his ancestors. A good Huashan sect was not destroyed by external enemies, but was defeated by its own people. Junior sister, take care of Shana and go practice swordsmanship for your husband. Without drowsiness, Yue Buqun lifted his foot and headed towards the nearby quiet room. Arriving at the quiet room, he stopped in front of a mural, pressed his palm lightly, and used a special technique to activate the inner center mechanism with true qi. After a click, a dark grid was revealed. Take out the Zixia secret script from the dark grid, and Yue Buqun quietly reads it. He has almost reached the pinnacle of his cultivation of the Purple Cloud Divine Art, and is even ranked among the top 10 righteous martial arts masters of the Southern Ming Dynasty. However, he still lags behind Shaolin practitioners such as Wudang Qingxiu, and is even half of his level compared to Left Cold Zen. Of course, it's not that Zixia divine skill is inferior, but rather that this divine skill is more moderate and peaceful, with comprehensive functions and insufficient killing power. In terms of skill alone, he is not inferior to Fang Jing Chongxiu and others. In no time, the secret script was flipped to the last page, carefully staring at the 4 lines of characters on the last page. Purple Cloud Secret Scripts, Beginner's Foundation Building, Sunflower Encyclopedia, Climbing to the Peak. Master, how can I retrieve the Sunflower Scripture? Looking up, Yue Buqun felt confused. Whether it is to preserve the inheritance of the Huashan sect or to revive the sect, strong strength is needed. The Sunflower Scripture is the future of the Purple Cloud Divine Art. Unfortunately, the Sunflower Scripture has long been taken away by the Sun and Moon Demon cult, and it is impossible to retrieve it. What should I do? End of this chapter. Chapter 4. The Shadow of the Demon Cult. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. The Shadow of the Demon Cult. Leaving aside Lao Yu's thoughts on how to obtain the Sunflower Manual for cultivation, Tian Hao, who had received the paper manuscript on the other side, ran straight back to the cave. This cave belongs to him, with a courtyard on the outside, backed by a stone wall. Inside, there is not only a specially built fireplace, but also a bedroom and bathroom, and even a porcelain toilet made by himself. As a modern person, it would be really uncomfortable without these. I took a shower first, then sat cross-legged on the bed, and with a movement of my mind, I summoned the sky-defying mirror. Ningzhong's God. 16 Gas. 12 Essence. 6 Fate.65. When he just carried Yu Lingshan over, he took the opportunity to touch the palm of his teacher Ning Zhongzi, and indeed, he could trigger the sky-reversing mirror. And the Fate attribute is also negative, even slightly higher than Yu Lingshan's, indicating that the Fate attribute is the key to triggering the anti-sky mirror. In terms of attributes, it's similar to that of the young senior sister, but how should we have long-term skin contact with the senior sister? Thinking about this difficult problem, although Tian Hao also wanted to use his old trick to knock his master unconscious and slowly download it, he compared the strength of both sides and gave up decisively. I need to come up with a good solution, otherwise once I let Shenyang know, there's no need for Lao Yu to take action, and Shenyang will have to castrate me. That way, you can go directly to find the demon repeating sword to practice. No, your physical disability may affect your future cultivation, and it's not worth the loss. After thinking for a while but couldn't come up with a good solution, Tian Hao decided not to waste his already limited brain cells and took out the secret script he had obtained from Lao Yu. Let's put the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt aside for now and first observe the eagle claw monument slayer. He once wanted to create a hammer striking technique that required a martial arts skill that relied on strength as its foundation, so he requested his master to look for it on his way out. The Eagle Claw Monument Slayer is a foreign martial arts skill that relies on external strength, with the core being the 4 or 2 strokes of 1,000 pounds. Although it is average in the martial arts world, it is purely an external skill that can be used without the need for internal skill coordination. It is perfect for him who has not yet practiced internal skills. At the same time, this Eagle Claw Monument Slayer is also a martial arts practice method in the third practice of external skills. In this way, in literary practice, there is a holding power, while in martial practice, there is an Eagle Claw Monument Slayer. In addition, with the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt for horizontal practice, the 3 external skills are complete, and they can complement each other, doubling their power. Obviously, for the sake of this martial arts, Shenyang has also put a lot of effort into it. Half of the night passed like this, and Tian Hao only squinted for a while in the early morning before getting up early to practice boxing. The embracing Yuan power that he majored in is a pure external martial art. Although he can practice internal power from the outside to the inside after reaching the ultimate level, the combination of internal power and internal power can increase its power, but it is only an incidental skill. As an external skill, it is impossible to rely on meditation for cultivation. It must be combined with external skill moves to move the body's muscles and bones. The most important thing is to use the condensed Baoyuan internal strength to flush the muscles, bones, and skin membrane, gradually stimulating and strengthening, and the internal strength of external skills is like those in traditional Chinese martial arts novels. There is a supporting boxing technique for holding the Yuan strength, and it can even be said that this is a set of boxing techniques in itself, using boxing techniques to condense internal strength. And internal strength is the essence of external martial arts. It is precisely because of the existence of internal strength that some external martial arts masters can compete with internal martial arts masters. While practicing his boxing, Tian Hao felt the repeated flushing of his inner strength through his muscles and bones, and his face became even more radiant with joy. His guess is really right. The mirror can superimpose her innate attributes on herself. This plug.in is too awesome. Practicing martial arts requires the most qualifications, and with good qualifications, one can achieve twice the result with half the effort. According to his speculation, the innate attributes of ordinary people are generally 1, except for the 2 major innate attributes of spirit and essence, which will not change. The innate energy will continue to be consumed with age, which is a non-renewable resource. This is also the reason why it is better to cultivate internal skills at a younger age. At the same time, as long as you cultivate internal skills, you can lock in the innate qi and no longer consume it, and the innate qi can also assist in internal skill cultivation. At the age of 1, his innate energy level was still 2.5, but at the age of 15, it dropped to 0.1, which seems to be the lowest value. It hasn't decreased or improved in the past 3 years. This is also the reason why Lao Yu did not pass on his Huashan heart technique, but instead passed on his external martial arts, the embracing Yuan power. Compared to the discarded innate energy, one's innate essence is still decent, 2.5 times that of an ordinary person. That is to say, when practicing external skills, the overall efficiency will be 2.5 times that of ordinary people. Currently, Lingshan's 8 innate essence attributes have been added, resulting in a significant increase in cultivation efficiency. This is a noticeable change, and not only the innate essence can affect external skill cultivation, but the other 2 innate attributes can also have an impact. It seems that the internal strength of embracing the yuan has become easier to condense. Is it the effect of stacking innate divine attributes? After practicing the Baoyuan power fist once, Tian Hao felt lost in thought and could clearly feel that the condensed control of the Baoyuan inner power had become much easier. The human body has 3 treasures of essence, energy, and spirit, among which the gods are the most mysterious, some of which are similar to the spiritual power and ideas in novels, and their own strength can bring many benefits. For example, in terms of improving memory, he jotted down both secret scripts last night. Although it may not be memorable, he can still remember them word for word by reading them several times. "Brother Hao, come and have breakfast," the freshly cooked big meat bun. At this moment, a middle-aged man walked over with a basket, greeted Tian Hao, and sat under the tree to nibble on a big meat bun. Why did second senior brother come so late today? Without hesitation, he walked over and sat down, took out a large meat bun from the basket and asked curiously as he nibbled on it. Lauderno did not perform well in the original work, but he had a good relationship with himself. Moreover, Lauderno had also practiced an external martial arts before and had been guided by him in the cultivation of the embracing power. In the past, in the early morning, Lauderno would come with a breakfast and practice external martial arts with him to improve his strength. However, today it is an hour late. Don't mention it, Master is practicing in seclusion today. Master has to take care of the little junior sister who has been infected with wind and cold. Master has escorted Master out but hasn't returned yet. I can only supervise the junior brothers and sisters to practice. Those kids are very skinny, and the junior sisters only know how to dress up and don't practice seriously. Innocence is unfair. They have great talent but don't know how to cherish it. You work hard, senior brother Hao, but you don't have enough talent. Sigh. At the end, Lauderno let out a sigh of regret towards Tian Hao. He has a good impression of Tian Hao and has witnessed with his own eyes how the other party has been practicing hard for the past 3 years. Unfortunately, there have been few achievements. It took him 3 years to cultivate the embracing yuan power to the entry-level and condense it into the embracing yuan inner power. He has some understanding of the martial arts of embracing the yuan force, which belongs to the more difficult and refined external martial arts. As he progresses, it becomes more and more difficult, and he has extremely high requirements for his body, bones, and intelligence. With Tian Hao's qualifications, being able to cultivate him to a great level in this lifetime is considered burning high incense. Do they all treat the martial arts world as a playhouse one by one? Sooner or later, they will regret it. With a sneer, Tian Hao looked down on his fellow senior brothers and sisters. The norm in the martial arts world is to fight and kill. Without sufficient strength, the outcome will be very miserable, especially in the area of Jianghu, which is inherently dark and lacks strength. In the future, one may not know how to die. It's not our turn to worry about those things. Master and mother will definitely have some plans, and there will also be senior brothers ahead in the future. Lauderno doesn't care about these things. Anyway, he's just a second senior brother, and as a disciple who leads the art and apprenticeship, he definitely doesn't have his own position as the future leader, let alone he won't stay in the Huashan Sect forever. It's coming soon, it won't be a few years. Do you think senior brother can afford the position of head just because of his carefree demeanor? Still sneering, Tian Hao was not optimistic about his senior brother Ling Huchong. Perhaps he could be a friend, but that guy lacked responsibility. From the perspective of the Huashan Sect and Lao Yu in the original work, he was completely a white-eyed wolf, and he would make a fool of the Huashan Sect. Let that guy become the leader of the Huashan Sect, he's sure to finish it. Since I have joined the Huashan Sect, I naturally cannot let that white-eyed wolf ruin the Huashan Sect. Otherwise, without the protection of the Huashan Sect, it would be difficult to survive in this dark world, let alone seek revenge. So Linghu Chong is his enemy, at least a potential enemy. Senior brother Hao, be cautious and don't forget the fourth precept of our sect's rules. Fellow disciples' jealousy. With a change in expression, Lauderno looked left and right, confirming that there was no one around before whispering a warning. Does he have the right to make me jealous? With a sideways glance, Tian Hao picked up a large meat bun again and ate it, saying anxiously, last month I heard from my master that there have been many small movements in the dark of the demons sect lately. I guess the battle between the righteous and the demonic is not far away. This was said by Lao Yu himself, and he reminded him not to leave the Huashan sect. Even the Huashan realm is not very safe now, and there are also figures of Sun-Moon demon cult believers in Guangzhou. The wind and rain are coming. Lauderno remained silent, and he heard some rumors. Although he did not participate in the battle between the righteous and demonic 10 years ago, he had heard of it. It can be said that blood flowed like a river, with countless deaths and injuries. Once the battle between the righteous and demonic forces breaks out again, just like the current appearance of the Huashan sect, the Sun and Moon demon cult can be defeated with just one charge. He's acting as an undercover agent and he's not comfortable either. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Internal Skill Cultivation System. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Internal Skill Cultivation System. In an open space of the Huashan sect, two figures quickly clashed, punching and kicking each other with astonishing force. The core of the martial arts of Eagle Claw Monument Slayer lies in the character, drop, while the essence lies in the use of 4 or 2 strokes of 1,000 pounds to use force to strike. It tests one's eyesight the most, grabs the opponent's weaknesses, launches a swift attack, and throws them to the ground. It can be considered a capturing technique and can be classified as a martial arts practice in foreign martial arts. While engaging in a quick confrontation with Tian Hao, Lauderno spoke up to offer advice. He has practiced some foreign martial arts before and has a good understanding of them. At least he can guide beginners like Tian Hao who have only practiced for a few years. Moreover, he has also read the secret script of the Eagle Claw Monument Slayer and has a considerable understanding of it. That's all for today. After practicing for a while, Lauderno suddenly stepped back and shook his arm, praising, Junior Brother Hao's strength is getting stronger and stronger. In a few years, I'm afraid even if I have internal energy protection, I won't be able to compete with you. Tian Hao has a tall physique, with a tiger back and a bare waist, making him the most suitable person to cultivate martial arts from outside. After all, in the same realm, people with tall stature definitely have stronger strength. Tian Hao's strength is very strong, and if it weren't for his inner energy blessing, he would definitely not be able to withstand it. Senior brother, you are so humble. Your skills are all in the sword. If you really want to hold the sword in your hand, junior brother, I can't even withstand a single move, so I can take advantage of your fists and feet. With a smile, Tian Hao walked over to the side and poured 2 cups of tea that had already been brewed. While drinking, he curiously asked, Senior brother, can you specifically talk about the cultivation level of internal skills? Although he joined the Huashan sect for 3 years, due to his own qualifications, he focused his main energy on the cultivation of the embracing Yuan power, and only learned some basic knowledge of internal skills without a specific understanding. I didn't know before, but now that I can obtain the innate attribute blessings of others, I naturally have to find ways to cultivate internal skills. Why is junior brother interested in internal skills? Taking the tea, Lauderno asked curiously. The martial arts world is not peaceful nowadays. Learn more about the characteristics of internal skills so that you won't be too hasty when facing internal skill masters in the future. Tian Hao found an excuse to evade, but he was already pondering how to let his master and mother teach him the Huashan heart technique in the future. Although Huashan heart method may seem like a common practice, everyone can cultivate it. However, this does not mean that the level of Huashan heart method is low. On the contrary, Huashan heart method is very strong. Just think about it and you'll know that the internal mental technique that can be crowned with the name of Mount Hua is not simple. As the foundation of the sect, the Huashan heart method can adapt to almost everyone, and this universality is extremely terrifying, which can cultivate a large number of middle and lower level disciples for the Huashan Sect. In the past, the Huashan Sect was able to become the leader of the 5 Sacred Sword Sect, and the Huashan mental skill was indispensable. Moreover, the potential of Huashan heart technique is not low. Shenyang Ning Zhongzi relied on Huashan heart technique to cultivate to the postnatal realm, which is a rare martial art in the martial arts world. The current martial arts world is indeed unsafe. With a deep nod of agreement, Lauderno was also aware that the current martial arts world was full of undercurrents, and both the righteous and demonic sides were actively preparing for battle. The wind and rain are coming. The cultivation of internal skills is based on the internal meridians, and there are a total of 3 meridian systems in our body. The 12 meridians attached to the 12 meridians, and the 8 extraordinary meridians. At the beginning of cultivation, it is necessary to meditate first, condense the mind, and use the mind to induce and guide the innate and acquired qi in the meridians, gathering them in the elixir field and condensing the acquired qi to form internal force. Then, continuously open the 12 meridians within the body with internal energy until all of them are fully opened, which is the initial state of internal energy. When opening and closing meridians, it is necessary to continuously refine and condense internal energy with the combination of mind and internal mental techniques, ultimately transforming it into internal breathing. Internal power can enhance our body's explosive power, possessing stronger speed and strength. After the completion of the 12 meridians and the condensation of internal energy into internal breathing, the 12 meridian categories can be opened up, which is the internal breathing realm. The key to condensing internal breathing lies in the mind, and it is precisely because of this that internal skills are also known as internal mind techniques. Lauderno patiently explained to Tian Hao the process of internal skill cultivation, which was not a secret and naturally needed no taboo. Can only use internal breathing to open up other meridians in the 12 meridians. Taking advantage of the tea break with Lauderno, Tian Hao curiously asked. Can only internal breathing be used, and internal energy cannot open up other meridians in the 12 meridians? The 12 meridians are a network of meridians that are separated from the 12 meridians, strengthening the mutual harmony of yin and yang in the 12 meridians. Compared to the meridians of the 12 meridians, the other meridians of the 12 meridians are much more delicate and fragile. If one uses internal energy to expand, it is easy to harm oneself. Only by using more condensed internal breathing can one achieve this. Opening the meridians themselves is to broaden our meridian orifices, allowing them to circulate more internal energy and breath, and it is not something that can be achieved solely through brute force. Speaking of which, Lauderno's expression became serious, which was crucial, and he couldn't be careless. Internal skill cultivation itself is much more dangerous than external skill cultivation. Mistakes in external skill cultivation can cause damage to muscles and bones at most. After a while of recuperation, one can recover. Once an error occurs in internal skill cultivation, it can damage the meridians and organs, ranging from mild to disability in severe to death. I see. Nodding clearly, although Tian Hao had never practiced internal skills, he knew some basic knowledge. The human meridians are naturally formed and naturally unobstructed, and the stories about opening up meridian orifices in novels are completely absurd. It should be noted that meridians involve the essence of human life, and the innate and acquired qi in meridians are closely related to bodily functions. If the meridians were blocked, a person would have died long ago. For example, acupoint tapping is to block the orifices. Once the acupoint is tapped, there will be many uncomfortable symptoms, and in severe cases, it may even endanger life. The essence of internal skill cultivation is simply to broaden and strengthen the meridians. Because compared to the need for internal skill operation, the original meridians of the human body are far from enough, and only by opening them can we more efficiently cultivate and fight. Just like a road, if a person walks alone, a small path is enough, but to pass a carriage, the road must be widened and reinforced. Internal breathing is much more powerful than internal strength, not only increasing the explosive power of our martial artists' bodies, but also allowing them to initially operate on weapons, enhancing their durability. Next, it is necessary to further condense the internal breath into internal qi, which has a greater impact on the body and can be released from the body. The fist power, palm power, referred to in the martial arts world refers to the internal energy produced by detached attacks, and the internal energy can also attach to the weapon blade. For example, senior brother, I can use my own internal energy to increase the sharpness of my long sword. While explaining, Lauderno drew his sword and swung it to cut off a corner of the stone table. Tian Hao bent down and picked up the corner of the stone table that had been chopped off. His fingers ran over it, and the cut was as smooth as a mirror, greatly surprised. You should know that this is a stone. In the past, even those hard alloy blades could not cut the stone into such a shape, at most breaking it into pieces. The blade with internal energy can actually cut open stones, just like laser cutting and water knife cutting in previous lives. It's too unscientific. After the internal qi realm, it is the acquired realm where the master and mother are located. It is necessary to further condense the internal qi into true qi, also known as acquired true qi. The acquired true qi is even more condensed, and can even be transformed into sword qi to attack enemies, cutting iron like mud with stronger power. It's just that it's extremely difficult to condense my inner energy into a later innocent energy. Senior brother, I have no hope in this life. With a sigh, Lauderno also longed for the afterlife, but unfortunately, he lacked talent and could not make any further breakthroughs. On the contrary, senior brother Linghu Chong has the strongest talent and is expected to break through to the postnatal realm before the age of 30. Unfortunately, Linghu Chong's temperament jumped out of control. Although he did not neglect the cultivation of internal skills, he could not have been considered diligent, otherwise he would have already broken through to the postnatal realm. Such talent without being cherished is truly pitiful, hateful, and pitiful. Senior brother, I want to try and see if I can cultivate internal skills. After digesting Lauderno's words, Tian Hao proposed the ultimate goal. As an old bookworm at the starting point, he naturally knows that cultivating only internal or external skills has no future, and cultivating both internal and external skills is the way. Previously, there were no such conditions, but now that cheats have been launched, it is natural to cultivate internal skills. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Unscrupulous Visitors. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Unscrupulous Visitors. I don't recommend you to focus on cultivating internal skills. Qualification is one aspect of the problem, and on the other hand, the potential of the martial arts of embracing the Yuan is very strong. It is one of the few external martial arts in the martial arts world that can cultivate internal power from the outside in. This kind of internal power cultivated from the outside in is most suitable for ourselves, and can integrate innate and acquired qi, with stronger potential. Compared to the internal skills cultivated directly through internal mental techniques, it is much better and has greater power. With a solemn expression, Lauderno solemnly warned. He is very optimistic about Tian Hao, and even guessed that he is refining meteorite iron himself. In the past 2 years, he has also created many refined steel long swords for the Huashan Sect, which should be the main reason why Yue Buqun values him. This is a rare talent. If we bring them to the Huashan Sect after the merger of the 5 sacred mountains in the future, they will definitely be highly valued, and we can use this to live a more prosperous life in the Huashan Sect. In this way, Tian Hao's future achievements naturally become better and better. There is also such a saying. Tian Hao was surprised. Although he knew that he could condense his internal power from the outside to the inside after reaching the ultimate level of holding the Yuan energy, he was not clear about the essence inside. Perhaps due to the significant aftermath of the Sword Qi War back then, the Huashan Sect only had one secret book for holding the elemental energy, without the cultivation experience of its predecessors as a reference. Even Lao Yu cannot provide much guidance in this regard. Of course, it may also be due to his own lack of realm that Lao Yu has not yet shared these profound knowledge with him. This is not a big secret in the martial arts world, but there are not many external martial arts that can cultivate internal power from the outside in, and it is too difficult to cultivate to that level. Shaolin Temple is one of the leaders in this regard. Even with the heritage of Shaolin Temple, few people would take this path. Lauderno was deeply saddened by this. When he was in the Huashan Sect, he had read records about Shaolin Temple, which led him to realize this secrecy. After all, the Huashan Sect is adjacent to Shaolin Temple and knows more than ordinary people. Even with the heritage of Shaolin Temple, not many people take this path from outside to inside. After all, qualifications are the most important thing for all sects in the martial arts world to recruit disciples. But since they have better qualifications, why not cultivate more effective and faster internal skills? It should be noted that external skill cultivation is very difficult, and the later the difficulty of cultivation increases. The pain endured during the cultivation period is also greater, and the effect is slow. The cost is much higher than that of internal skill cultivation. In general, it takes at least 30 or 40 years of hard work to cultivate and condense internal power from the outside. By that time, the innate qi in the body had already been depleted, and even if the internal power from the outside could merge with the innate qi, it would not be of much use. However, this is Tian Hao's only way out. He has checked Tian Hao's physical fitness and found that he has no future in internal skills. It is even difficult to condense his internal strength. Instead of focusing on cultivating internal skills, it's better to focus on the embracing energy. It seems that the cultivation of internal skills needs to be temporarily put on hold. If lost in thought, Tian Hao became interested in the path from the outside to the inside. It should be noted that orthodox internal skill cultivation can only initially utilize the acquired qi, and the innate qi carried by the mother and fetus can only be sealed in the elixir field, not lost, but cannot be effectively utilized. The internal power that can be cultivated from the outside in can directly integrate innate qi, with a starting point much higher than traditional internal skill cultivation. As for the flaws in this path, they were nothing to him. According to his conjecture, all 30.6 gemstones on the anti-sky mirror could correspond to one cheating girl. The combination of the innate attributes of 30.6 cheating girls would make their qualifications so terrifying that it was unimaginable. Although the sky mirror is a picky and bad kid, he also has a next goal. A few days ago, when carrying Lingshan over, I took the opportunity to touch the palm of my teacher Ning Zhongzi, and it was indeed possible to trigger the anti-heaven mirror. As long as you find the opportunity to download the innate attributes of Shenyang, you should be able to continue stacking them. With such strong qualifications, it should not be difficult to cultivate the embracing Yuan power to the ultimate level. I'll be here today, and tomorrow I'll come back to practice martial arts with my junior brother. Without staying for a long time, Lauderno stood up and left. As the second senior brother of the Huashan Sect, he has a lot of responsibilities to take care of when the first senior brother is not around. After sending Lauderno out, Tian Hao turned back into the cave and didn't burn the meteorite iron that had been hammered for many days. He picked up a 36-pound large hammer and hammered it repeatedly. Dang 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 dang. After hitting 40 times in a row, he stopped with a slight gasp, but his heart was filled with excitement, knowing that his guess was correct. Although Baoyuan Neijin can increase the power of hammering, it puts a considerable load on both arms, and with each rebound force, he can hit a maximum of 36 consecutive blows at once. Since practicing the Eagle Claw Monument Slayer, I have been using the technique of using 1,000 pounds of internal force to hit the hammer, which has reduced the load on my arms by one section and weakened the strength of my rebound. I only managed to keep hitting my arms 40 times in a row without stopping. And this is just the beginning of cultivation. once the Eagle Claw Monument Slayer is cultivated to the entry level, the effect will definitely be better. Even if one cultivates to a great level, they may be able to completely eliminate the side effects brought by the anti-seismic force. In this way, it can be continuously smashed, and this technique can also be used in practical combat. After all, although the Eagle Claw Monument Slayer is a comprehensive martial art that includes boxing and leg techniques, they are only used to assist in catching enemies. Once the enemy is caught, they can forcefully smash a stone tablet and even break it into pieces when cultivated to a great level. This is the origin of the name Eagle Claw Monument Slayer. The Eagle Claw Monument Slayer can grab enemies and smash them, and naturally can also wield heavy weapons to smash them. A normal person must weigh over 100 pounds, while their own hammer weighs only 36 pounds, making it easier to control. Think about it, in the future, wielding weapons weighing tens or even hundreds of pounds to kill, that scene is very beautiful. The more he thought, the more excited he became. Tian Hao took a break and was about to light the stove to start his daily iron-making plan when a shout filled with anger came from outside the cave. Tian Hao, come out. Do you have Lu Dao? Feeling puzzled, he walked out of the cave and saw that it was indeed Lu Dao. There are only a few people in the Huashan Sect, and he is quite familiar with each person's voice. When he was inside the cave, he recognized that it was the voice of Lu Dao. Just don't understand what this guy is doing here. And he also has an unfriendly appearance, he has never offended this guy before. What did you do to junior sister that night? Why hasn't junior sister come out to practice swordsmanship these past few days? Staring angrily at Tian Hao, Lu Dao was very unhappy with him. Although several junior sisters said that the young junior sister was infected with wind cold and was recuperating in the room, he didn't believe it. That must be an excuse. That night, he saw this guy carrying his junior sister over with his own eyes, and found a drop of blood on the way. That guy must have hurt my junior sister. Even just now, he went to visit his junior sister. Although he didn't see anyone, he could tell from his words that his emotions were very different, clearly receiving a lot of stimulation. Before escorting Chao Fuzi away, the senior brother asked him to take care of the junior sister. Now that the junior sister has been bullied and injured, how can he not be angry? It's none of your business. Confirming that Lu Dao was not kind, Tian Hao was too lazy to pay attention and turned around to return to the cave. Although Lu Dao's popularity in the original work is not low, it is mainly a matter of stance, and now it is natural to feel uncomfortable standing in his position. And this cave was ordered by Lao Yu to prevent anyone from entering. Lu Dao, that guy, has no right to enter without permission. Don't think I don't know you're a runaway slave. I saw that tattoo on your face back then, and thought you could use a knife to cut it off and cover it up. Your fierce appearance back then must have killed many people. We have checked with you. 3 years ago, a family of 787 old heroes from Qinglong Sword Pass were poisoned to death. Their heads were cut off and turned into jingguan, and the manor was burned. It was you who did it. You are just a stray dog that bit its owner, and my senior brother has already noticed that you have a bone-turning problem in the back of your head. Seeing that Tian Hao didn't pay attention to him, Lu Dao immediately cursed and his words were very unpleasant. He must know from that guy what he did to his junior sister that day, and maybe even take this opportunity to reveal the true face of this guy. Tian Hao paused in his footsteps as he walked towards the cave, continued expressionless, and picked up a 36-pound steel rod to walk out. Your mouth smells bad, so I'll reluctantly become a dentist today. Carrying the steel stick on his shoulder, Tian Hao was very unhappy, very unhappy. His previous experiences were indeed very pitfalls. It took him more than a decade as a slave to find the opportunity to escape and worship under the gate of Mount Hua. That past is a taboo in his heart. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Iron Forging Sword Technique. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Iron Forging Sword Technique. Today I will definitely show my master and mother your true face. Seeing Tian Hao come out to fight, Lu Dao was overjoyed. He knew that the method of provocation would definitely work, and as expected, he was just a reckless man who didn't know how to endure. As long as you take it down and force the other party to inquire about their intention to come to Huashan, you can definitely have the master and mother drive it out. Look at the sword. Stop talking nonsense, draw your sword and stab it. He has great confidence in his own strength. His cultivation has already reached the realm of internal breathing, and coupled with the exquisite Huashan sword technique, it is not easy to defeat a barbarian who only knows how to forge iron. However, when faced with the rapid thrust of the long sword, Tian Hao ignored it and held his stick in both hands. With his already condensed embrace of the yuan, his internal strength erupted, and he swung the 36-pound steel stick fiercely to smash it. 80. Just like in the past, he exhaled and spoke loudly, with a strong force. He had a steel rod in his hand that was 4 feet long, while Lu Dao had a long sword in his hand that was only 2.5 feet long, enough to hit his head before piercing him. At a disadvantage in weapons, coupled with the inability to dodge, in order to prevent Tian Hao from waking up and retreating back into the cave, Lu Dao had to change the stab to block the steel rod that had been smashed. I didn't care about it myself. As a martial artist in the inner breathing realm, with the blessing of inner breathing, his explosive power is not weak. Of course, he didn't foolishly resist. He used his long sword to strike the iron rod he wanted to smash off the side, and then took the opportunity to get close. After the piercing friction, the steel rod slid down the blade and fiercely struck the frame, unleashing all its strength. The tremendous strength and domineering embrace of the yuan made Lu Da have arms, and even half of his body was tingling with pain. He almost missed the long sword in his hand and was thrown out. My body also retreated repeatedly, and my back collided heavily with the wall behind me. This was not over yet. Tian Hao used the anti-shock force to swing the steel stick, while taking a big step forward. After taking a breath, he condensed his inner strength and smashed it hard again, exhaling and making the same sound. 80. But half of his body was numb and sore, and Lu Dao had no way to resist. Behind him was a wall, unable to retreat. He could only carry the sword handle with his left hand and continue to block it with both hands. When another heavy blow made Lu Dao's arms feel even more sore and numb, even if he learned the Huashan sword technique well, it would be difficult to unleash it at this time. Before the adjustment could recover, the third stick had already been struck. 80. When click. The long sword in his hand was forcefully broken, and then the steel rod hit his shoulder. A delicate clicking sound sounded, and the steel rod sank into his shoulder. The pain of the fracture made Lu Dao's face turn pale like paper for an instant, but he persevered and stared at the tall figure across from him. This is not Huashan sword technique. This is definitely not Huashan swordsmanship, that guy really came from a bad way. Iron sword technique, self-created. With a sneer, Tian Hao replied that he didn't really like that tedious move. He appreciated the crisp and agile combat style of the ancient style, which could determine life and death in just a few rounds and determine the winner. Of course, not learning Huashan swordsmanship is mainly because it requires internal skill coordination, which he doesn't have yet. Insert the iron rod into the ground, grab onto Lu Dao's collar, and throw a series of slaps with extreme force. This series of slaps has blinded Lu Dao, coupled with sore arms and a fractured left shoulder, making it impossible to resist. With non-stop slapping, Lu Dao soon followed in the footsteps of Lingshan, replacing Lauderno as the new generation of second senior brother. Even during this period, there were many broken teeth mixed with blood and water flying out, which was very miserable. Tian Hao won't be polite to such a guy with a bad mouth. Perhaps in his past life, he would have emphasized the importance of forgiving others, but after more than a decade of slavery, he had long abandoned the ideas of his past life. To live a fulfilling life in this world, one must be ruthless enough. He doesn't want to be troubled by Lu Dao again in the future, and even if it weren't for the restrictions of the sect rules, he wants to kill it immediately to prevent future troubles. However, the death penalty can be avoided, while the life penalty cannot escape. It is necessary to beat it to pain and fear. A series of heavy slaps, even with internal breathing to resist, left Lu Dao unconscious. Can't handle it anymore. With a pout, Tian Hao dragged him towards his master's mansion. Don't think it's over with just a beating. As a newcomer who has undergone 9 years of compulsory education, I have long learned the ultimate skill of telling parents from those teachers. Master, that's how things went. Dragging the unconscious Lu Dao to Lao Yu, Tian Hao honestly explained everything, including the words Lu Dao said. He knew that Lu Dao was deliberately provoking, but since he said the wrong thing, he had to bear the corresponding responsibility. After listening to Tian Hao's story, Lao Yu's face was gloomy like water. Even Ning Zhongzi, who originally had a pitiful expression for Lu Da, turned cold. When Tian Hao apprenticed, he explained his past in detail. Afterwards, they also went to investigate, and everything was up to par. Moreover, the countless ferocious scars on Tian Hao's back cannot be fake, all of which were whipped out by someone with a hard whip. Having that kind of experience is good if one doesn't go crazy. Lu De used this to stimulate Tian Hao, and it's not an exaggeration to be killed. And they did know that Tian Hao did not fit in with other disciples, and Chong'er and others also rejected him, but they didn't expect it to develop to such an extent. Hao, please go back to practice first. I will handle this matter properly as a teacher. With a gloomy face, Tian Hao signaled to go back first. Lao Yu was very angry now and wanted to hit someone. Tian Hao is related to the future rise and fall of the Huashan Sect. If he can successfully forge the dark iron, it will undoubtedly become a major boost to the revival of Huashan. But who would have thought that those disciples didn't understand his master's good intentions? If it weren't for the scarcity of disciples, he would have wanted to clear Lu Dao's door. And fellow disciples are jealous, killing each other is a common rule. It's a big mistake for Lu Dao to trouble Tian Hao. Master and mother don't need to be angry, and the disciples know that the forging of the dark iron needs to be kept confidential. It's normal for senior brothers and sisters to have misunderstandings about the disciples. Only when they successfully forge the dark iron in the future can they use the dark iron divine weapon forged by the disciples to understand Master's good intentions. Tian Hao sincerely expressed that he didn't pay attention to Lu Dao's words, and he didn't want to ruin his own plan just for the sake of one Lu Dao. It would be great if they could be half as sensible as you. With a sigh, Yue Buqun was still very satisfied with this disciple. He had a good heart and worked hard enough, but his qualifications were a bit lacking. However, diligence can make up for weakness, and future achievements will definitely not be low. Moreover, he did not want to train him to be a fighter. He positioned himself as a blacksmith, a craftsman who could build a magic weapon of black iron, just like the legendary Yezi General Moi. Disciple, please leave. After not waiting for long, Tian Hao retired and left. After Tian Hao left, Lao Yu's face once again became gloomy like water. Senior brother, Chong'er and others are also concerned about our Huashan sect. Guess what the husband is thinking in his heart, and rather speak softly. Even now, you can still justify him. Perhaps others can think so, but as the head disciple of Huashan, the future leader of Huashan sect must not have such thoughts. Don't forget how the sword chi battle came about back then, and how it is crucial for the future revival of our Huashan sect. As the future leader, Chong'er is at odds with him. Don't you understand the seriousness of the situation? His face still didn't look good, and Yue Buqun was very dissatisfied with that senior disciple. Lu Dao may have misunderstandings and biases towards Tian Hao, but as your chief disciple, Ling Huchong also has this kind of thinking, which is a big mistake. Even if I didn't inform you of the importance of Tian Hao, do you think Ling Hucheng thinks that I'm old-eyed and can't be deceived? He doesn't know what to say about this kind of brain and temperament. After Chong'er becomes the leader in the future, can he really hold on to the Huashan Sect? Seeing that her husband was really angry, Ning Zhongzi dared not speak well for his disciple anymore. After recuperating for 3 days, let him go to the cliff wall to ponder on his own. When will he break through to the inner qi state before coming down? Glancing at Lu Dao, who was still in a coma, Yue Buqun couldn't help but feel angry and resentful. You should know that Tian Hao has only been practicing martial arts in Huashan for 3 years, while Lu Dao has already been practicing for 13 years. Even so, I was defeated and couldn't even withstand the 3 moves. Shame on you. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Lauderno's Whip. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Lauderno's Whip for Tian Hao. The incident involving Lu Dao was just a minor episode. After returning, he continued his daily iron-making plan, while also comprehending the cultivation of Eagle Claw Slayer and Horizontal Crab Iron Cloth Shirt. The difficulty of the Eagle Claw Monument Slayer is not high, with the innate attribute blessing of Lingshan. It is not difficult to comprehend and cultivate, but the Horizontal Crab Iron Cloth Shirt is very difficult. There is no way. This external skill itself is a self-destructive martial art that requires varying degrees of external attacks, combined with internal strength and the refining of the skin, fascia, and bones, especially in the area of the skin. Cultivating to a great level and even being like iron and stone, but the process of cultivation is quite arduous. However, for Tian Hao, there is no hesitation about whether to practice or not. What he cares about is how to cultivate and how to better and faster become a horizontal crab iron cloth shirt. The 3 exercises of external skills complement each other, and only by completing them all can one maximize their strength. Moreover, the main focus of embracing Yuan strength is on internal strength, which has an average refining effect on the body. In game terms, it means high attack and low defense. If there is a horizontal crab iron cloth shirt to assist, it can effectively compensate for the deficiency, and the 2 complement each other. Furthermore, the martial arts world is very dangerous, and the enemies in Huashan are also quite small. To live a healthy life, one must stack the thickest armor. Do you really want to practice the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt? In the early morning, upon hearing Tian Hao's request, Lauderno hesitated a bit. Although the horizontal practice of external skills like the iron cloth shirt can indeed assist in cultivating the embracing energy, the process of horizontal martial arts cultivation is quite brutal, making outsiders tremble at the sight, let alone cultivate. And he had also seen the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt, which was even more brutal than a normal iron cloth shirt. Each layer had to be peeled off, and the pain inside was imaginable. Please help me, second senior brother. Sincerely pleading, Tian Hao really needs the help of Lauderno. Practicing the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt requires external strikes to assist, so he naturally cannot let the couple-in-law come to help him practice, and among the other senior brothers, only Lauderno can get along well with him. At the same time, he devoted himself to practicing the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt, and even abandoned his beloved flowing long hair in order not to leave any flaws, wanting to temper his scalp together. Okay, if you can't hold on, don't force yourself. In the end, Lauderno took the whip. Senior brother, wait a moment, I'll go apply the divine oil. Lauderno's agreement made Tian Hao overjoyed, and he eagerly returned to the cave to take out the jar of Huashan divine oil that Lao Yu had given him last time. He took out a little bit of it and applied it evenly to his entire skin, not even leaking the big and small heads. Rub vigorously until the whole body's skin turns red and hot before stopping. The cultivation of iron cloth shirt is not just about using external force to beat, it also requires the assistance of secret medicines, otherwise it will only harm and disable people during practice. After applying Huashan's divine oil, Tian Hao walked out of the cave wearing only tight shorts and tied up a horizontal crab iron cloth shirt in the yard to perform the cancer stake technique. The cultivation of the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt is divided into two parts. Dynamic and static. Dynamic skill is an external practice move, while static skill is the current giant crab pole skill, with a body like a big crab. It is necessary to accept the whipping of others while standing on a stake, until every piece of skin on the body is whipped once before it is considered a cultivation. I offended you. Without hesitation, after a reminder, Lauderno swung his whip and pulled it, adding a red mark to Tian Hao's skin. Then he continued to draw continuously, causing the red marks to increase, covering the entire surface of his body, even his face. Coupled with the posture of the cancer stake technique, he looked like a steamed hairy crab. At the same time, Tian Hao utilizes the unique internal strength of the iron cloth shirt to assist external forces and Huashan's divine oil in flushing the muscles, bones, and skin membranes. With the foundation of embracing Yuan's inner strength and the blessing of Lingshan's innate attributes, it is not difficult to condense the inner strength of the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt. It was condensed yesterday. Unfortunately, second senior brother is a man. While practicing, Tian Hao secretly felt regretful. Although he treats everyone equally, being whipped by a man always feels strange and can easily trigger bad memories. As the saying goes, cultivating oneself. No, it's like practicing martial arts without time. At first, Tian Hao did feel a bit uncomfortable, but his significant improvement in physical fitness made him very satisfied. He gradually accepted the life of being whipped twice a day by a big man in the morning and evening. Perhaps he wouldn't have been so cruel to himself when he first crossed over. After all, he wasn't a ruthless person in his past life, let alone being cruel to himself. But his experiences after crossing over, especially the more than 10 years of slavery, allowed him to undergo spiritual transformation and understand the cruelty of this world. If you are not cruel enough to yourself, you may be chopped to death outside in the future. Although he was transported through time by the sky mirror, he doesn't know if he can continue to be reborn through time after dying again. There is only one life, we must cherish it well. And strength is the foundation for one's survival in this martial arts world, and one cannot slack off. Pop 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 pop. In the early morning, a man waved his whip and continuously whipped a burly young man. However, strangely enough, although the force of the whipping was not small, it could still leave red marks on the burly young man's body, but the red marks would disappear on their own in no time. Continuously enduring the whipping of the whip, Tian Hao condensed his internal strength and combined it to flush his muscles, bones, and skin membranes. Suddenly, the strength inside the body seemed to break through some kind of shackles, becoming more condensed and powerful, and could also be more easily condensed, almost instantly producing a burst of strength. It's done. With a happy expression on his face, Tian Hao understood that he had been practicing hard for a month, and finally, with the help of the cultivation of the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt, he raised his holding power to the level of Xiaocheng. Most martial arts are divided into 3 levels of cultivation. Beginner level, beginner level, beginner level, beginner level, and beginner level. Taking Baoyuan power as an example, being able to condense Baoyuan internal power is considered beginner level. However, the speed of this step's condensed inner strength of holding Yuan is not fast. Initially, Tian Hao needed 3 breaths to condense a single inner strength of holding Yuan. After 6 months of cultivation, he only compressed the time into 1 breath, and it became more and more difficult as he continued. Last time I hit Lu Dao, every stroke required a breathing time to condense strength, which was quite fatal in actual combat. If it weren't for Lu Da's carelessness in belittling the enemy, he would never have had the opportunity to hone his strength again, and even if someone was there to support him, he wouldn't have won. And the subsequent cultivation is aimed at this point, which requires further refining the inner strength of the embracing Yuan. Being able to instantly condense the strength into strength is considered a small achievement. As for the Decheng realm of Baoyuan Shi, it requires spreading the internal strength of Baoyuan throughout the body's muscles and bones, and being able to burst out from various parts of the body. Every punch and foot can have tremendous power. And now he has reached the realm of Xiaocheng, able to instantly concentrate his strength into strength. The little senior sister's brand is awesome. Feeling the surging force inside his body, Tian Hao secretly praised it. With his qualifications, it takes at least another 10 years of hard work to cultivate the embracing energy to the level of Xiaocheng. After receiving the innate attribute blessing of Lingshan, he successfully broke through and reached the level of Xiaocheng within a month. Pop 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 pop. Congratulations to junior brother for successfully breaking through. Noticing the change in Tian Hao, Lauderno put down his whip and clapped his hands to congratulate him, feeling extremely pleased with Tian Hao's breakthrough. There are not many people in the Huashan Sect who can really get along with him, but Tian Hao has the best relationship with him. Tian Hao can break through, and he will naturally feel happy for it. Maybe he can be helpful in the future. Moreover, it seems that it is also skilled in crafting weapons. In the future, after the merger of the 5 sacred mountains, it will be sent to Songshan, and the two of them can also take care of each other. After all, I have been away from my sect for many years and have little friendship with my peers. Even if I go back, my treatment may not be very good. Even after Master Yue Buqun has been practicing for 100 years without anyone to protect me, it will be even more difficult. We must be prepared in advance. Thanks to my second senior brother helping me cultivate the iron cloth shirt for a month, otherwise it would be difficult for me to break through the embracing energy so quickly. Sincere thanks. Tian Hao was very grateful to Lauderno, and even pondered whether he could win him over and become his own person. Anyway, for this kind of person, as long as they have enough chips, it is not difficult to threaten them again and make them betray the Huashan Sect. They can even pass on false information to left cold Zen and buy more development time for the Huashan Sect and themselves. The horizontal crab iron cloth shirt does indeed fit well with the embracing yuan strength, and the two can complement each other very well. However, the main reason for achieving such success is your firm determination to practice martial arts, junior brother Hao. With great emotion, Lauderno has witnessed what it means to practice desperately in the past month. The cultivation method of the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt itself is somewhat self-destructive, and Tian Hao further increased the cultivation intensity to the limit of his own capacity. Watching him make his heart skip a beat. However, such intense cultivation has indeed had a significant effect. In addition, external skills such as the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt are easy to learn but difficult to master. In the early stages of cultivation, the speed is very fast, and it takes only a month to get started. And during the cultivation process of the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt, it is necessary to constantly flush the muscles and bones with internal strength to resist external impact, which is also a form of tempering the strength itself. This can effectively assist in the cultivation of the holding energy. It is precisely because of this that both martial arts can break through, and with the foundation of the embracing yuan power in the Xiaocheng realm, I believe that the iron cloth shirt can also quickly reach the Xiaocheng realm. He is very optimistic about Tian Hao's future. However, there were also doubts in his heart. Tian Hao's physical recovery ability exceeded expectations and did not quite match his own qualifications and abilities. According to his judgment, Tian Hao had to practice hard for at least a year to reach the entry-level of iron cloth shirt cultivation. Is it the reason for that San divine oil? End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Lingshan's Revenge. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Lingshan's Revenge. That's all for today's cultivation. I'll prepare a few wooden sticks for my brother to go back to. In a few days, after my junior brother completes his first molting, I'll come back to assist him in his cultivation. Glancing at the dead skin on Tian Hao's shoulder that had been pulled off, Lauderno understood that he needed to switch guys. The cultivation of the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt has 3 stages. The first stage requires the assistance of a whip for cultivation, and after reaching the beginner's level, it needs to be replaced with a wooden stick for cultivation. After reaching the level of Xiaocheng, a stronger iron rod is needed to assist in cultivation until reaching the level of Deshang. Previously, although a whip on Tian Hao could leave a red mark, it quickly faded away, much stronger than a month ago. Nowadays, Tian Hao's iron cloth shirt and holding yuan strength are breaking through together, and using a leather whip is no longer suitable. It needs to be replaced with a wooden stick. Thank you, senior brother. Sincere thanks. Tian Hao had some speculations about Lauderno's enthusiasm, but it didn't matter. Lauderno's cooperation in his cultivation was indeed a kind gesture of kindness. He will seek revenge and repay kindness. Lauderno's help to himself must not lead him to the same fate as in the original work. My own brother, there's no need to be seen outside. With a smile, Lauderno was ready to leave and prepare a suitable wooden stick, but before he could leave, a passionate and coquettish drink came from behind. Little mouse, you're doomed. Turning her head, she noticed a young girl rushing towards her using her lightness skills, full of murderous intent. It was obvious that the person coming was not kind. Junior sister. Lauderno was stunned and couldn't understand why the little junior sister, who hadn't seen her for a month, was so angry. You step aside, I'll find that one. Ah. Pushing aside Lauderno in front of her, Lingshan was about to settle accounts with Tian Hao, but when she saw Tian Hao wearing only tight shorts, she couldn't help but scream and instinctively turned around. How could that guy be so vulgar in broad daylight? Is there anything I need to do? Wearing a shirt, Tian Hao casually asked. After all, Lingshan was more open-minded in this regard than ordinary women outside. After calming down, she finally turned around. I'm going to beat you into a pig's head today. Grasping her pink fist tightly, Lingshan said with hatred. Although her mother said she was knocked unconscious by falling stones when she woke up, she felt that there was something wrong and it was definitely related to that dead mouse. The most despicable thing is that there was a small cut on the bridge of her nose with a stone. Although it was very small, leaving any scars on her face would be a lifelong thing. She didn't want to be given the title of Scar-Nose Female Hero when wandering the world. She has been hiding in her room for the past month and dare not come out to see anyone. Today, she finally recovered completely and only came to settle accounts with the dead mouse after confirming that there were no scars left. That was just an accident back then. His thick eyebrows furrowed, and Tian Hao didn't want to have any conflicts with Lingshan. For him, women are trouble, and the more beautiful a woman is, the greater the trouble she carries. It is obvious that Lingshan herself can bring a lot of trouble. The last incident involving Lu Dao was triggered by this woman. Although she captured a Lu Dao, there was still a Ling Hu Chong standing behind this girl. Counting the days, that senior brother is also coming back soon. He doesn't want to delay his cultivation due to some messy things. And last time it was really an accident. He just wanted to knock the junior sister unconscious and do some small experiments, without intending to harm that girl. Stop talking nonsense and have a fight with me. Suppressing her anger, Lingshan drew her sword and unsheathed it. Today, she will definitely double her efforts to recover it. The fourth rule of our sect's rules is that fellow disciples are jealous and kill each other. I don't want to be punished by my master, do I? Seeing the girl's resolute attitude, Tian Hao could only use his trump card. To sue his parents. In the past, it didn't matter when Lao Yu and his wife were not in the Huashan Sect, but now when they come back to take control, if Lingshan dares to forcefully attack him, Lao Yu will dare to destroy his family with righteousness. Cowards. Lingshan's teeth were itching with hatred, and then her eyes twitched. She came up with a plan. Learn from me once, and if you win, I'll give you 100-year-old 37. We can't deal with that guy forcefully, we need to be tempted. 3 or 7 years old. Sure enough, Tian Haoxing's eyes were bright. Yu Dao ranks first in Ginseng's qi tonifying, Sanqi's blood tonifying, and Lingji's spiritual nourishment. The aged Sanchi is very helpful for external martial arts cultivation. If it is combined with some auxiliary medicine to make tonic diet, it can definitely help him to quickly cultivate the iron cloth shirt to a small level. Then he will be as skinny as leather, and his defense will be greatly increased, as well as his strength. How could you have a 100-year-old 37-foot? After excitement, my heart became suspicious. Although Panax noto ginseng and Ganoderma lucidum are not as precious as ginseng and Ganoderma lucidum, they are still rare and can only be purchased for hundreds of taels of silver. Lingshan doesn't have that much pocket money, can that girl be deceiving him? I'm lucky. I found it in the mountains, and second senior brother also knows. Speaking of this, Lingshan raised her delicate chin, full of pride and pride. Last year, it was luck to discover that piece of 37 in the mountains. With the current market situation, it can be sold for at least 500 taels, which is a huge sum of money. Little junior sister did indeed dig up a 100-year-old piece of 37-foot last year. Lauderno spoke up as a witness at this moment, as Lingshan had asked him to estimate the value of that piece of 37. It seems that fate attribute is only related to fate and has nothing to do with luck, otherwise that girl wouldn't be so lucky. Upon reflection, Tian Hao confirmed his inner speculation. Although it was initially speculated that Lingshan's fate attribute was likely to represent fate, it was still a forced fate, but after all, it was just a speculation. Now it's good, since this girl can have good luck digging up a 100-year-old or 37 yuan, her luck is definitely not bad, at least not a negative number, or something like E. Little senior sister, please wait a moment. Junior brother, I will go and fetch a sword to compete with you. Suppressing his thoughts, Tian Haoxing rushed back to the cave and soon ran back with his sword. At first, he didn't intend to create an exclusive sword for himself, but when he figured out the true use of the anti-sky mirror, he had some ideas for the future and specifically used meteorite iron to create a sword for himself. Although meteorite iron is far from as hard as black iron that can compare to diamonds, it is not inferior. At least it is much stronger than ordinary steel weapons, and it is estimated that it should be comparable to tungsten steel in previous lives. Second senior brother, could you please be a witness? Carrying his sword, Tian Hao greeted Lauderno, fearing that Lingshan would not admit his defeat. After all, sometimes women really can't reason with them, so it's safer to have Lauderno as a witness. Junior sister, you should have heard that junior brother Lu was defeated by junior brother Hao. Junior brother Hao's strength is not weak. Lauderno, who was well aware of Tian Hao's strength, spoke up and reminded him. Of course, it was not a sincere reminder. Just by looking at Lingshan's current appearance, it is clear that she would not listen to advice. However, whether to listen or not is her responsibility, and whether to speak or not is her duty as a senior brother. Even if the master and mother ask questions afterwards, they will not blame him. That's Lu Hoer's carelessness in belittling the enemy. I won't underestimate the enemy. Sure enough, Lingshan came prepared and even went to Sigua Cliff to personally inquire about Lu Daio's battle process that day. This time, she was determined to beat someone into a pig's head. But when he looked at the precious sword on Tian Hao's shoulder, he was confused, and then looked at the blue water sword in his own hand, a bit dumbfounded. That thing is a sword. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. National Treasure Junior Sister. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 National Treasure Junior Sister Junior Brother Hao, your sword. Lauderno was also startled by the sword that Tian Hao carried out. The sword was palm wide, 3 feet long, and with a 1 foot long handle. It was 4 feet long and very heavy, definitely weighing over 30 pounds. Although I have also competed with Tian Hao many times in swordsmanship during this period, all he used was a steel rod. I didn't expect to actually create a long sword of this size. A long sword of this size is extremely rare in the martial arts world, and only in the military can such a heavy combat sword be found. Second senior brother, little senior sister, I'm ready now. After the activity, Tian Hao signaled to start a war and spar. He is bound to win that 100-year-old peace. Junior sister. Lauderno looked at Lingshan on the other side and picked up the sword placed on the stone table. It is inevitable that there will be damage in sparring and fighting. As a witness and senior brother, he has an obligation to protect the two junior brothers and sisters to avoid irreparable consequences. Chang. Senior brother Hao, please teach me. Under strong pressure, Lingshan's long sword was unsheathed and he performed a sword salute according to the rules of the Huashan Sect. This is a necessary step for a martial arts competition, and she must also take action in the name of the competition this time. Otherwise, if her father gets angry and faces the wall, it will be light. Junior sister, please teach me. Insert the long sword on his shoulder into the ground, and Tian Hao also saluted with a sword before picking up the water bag hanging from his waist. This is the product of my late-night booing, be careful. A friendly reminder. With a forceful squeeze, a yellow liquid shot out, and with a twist of the wrist, it formed an arc that blocked Lingshan's left, right, and above. Then he drew his sword and quickly charged forward. He is well aware of his strengths and weaknesses, and is not afraid of being tough. However, once Lingshan is asked to use her body and sword techniques to fight against him, she will be much more passive. We must force that girl to confront us head-on. Shameless. Looking at the yellow liquid that shot, Lingshan gritted her teeth in anger, but she didn't dare to dodge left or right. If she really wanted to get infected with that disgusting thing, she might as well die. And she couldn't resist fighting that bastard either. 80. The great sword wheel swung and slashed fiercely, unleashing its accumulated power of embracing the element, becoming fierce and domineering. Coupled with the burly figure that was 1 foot taller than Lingshan, he stood tall and the attack was even more fierce. When the big sword slashed onto the slender body of the blue water sword, creating a thrilling arc. Bang! With immense force, Lingshan, who was weak, knelt down on one knee. However, she still held on to both ends of her long sword with both hands, preventing the big sword from hitting her. Otherwise, she would lose, let alone turn that bastard into a pig's head. Pop! Struggling to suppress the numbness in her arms, Lingshan infused her internal breath into the sword body. The curved sword body instantly became straight, and she bounced the large sword pressed against it. This is the solution she came up with after inquiring about the situation of the battle with Lu Dao that day. After all, that guy's weapon was too long, and to win, he had to be close, which inevitably led to a hard fight. In this way, the toughness of the sword body can be utilized to cushion the force, while using elasticity to counterattack and create loopholes. Unfortunately, the strength just now was too strong, making her arms tingle and difficult to counterattack in an instant. However, it doesn't matter. According to Lu Da, that guy needs a breath to refocus his strength, enough to adapt himself. How could it be? Just as Lingshan was rapidly recovering her arms from soreness and numbness through internal breathing, the next scene made her look silly and adorable. 80. I saw Tian Hao wielding his sword again and slashing, without the expected buffering time. He can instantly condense his energy into strength without needing to readjust his body, as he has already cultivated the embracing yuan power to the level of Xiaocheng. When the girl gritted her teeth hard, but the soreness and numbness in her arms had not eased yet. Now it can be said that the situation is even worse. She was almost unconscious by the domineering and fierce embrace of the yuan's inner strength, and she couldn't bear the next sword. Realizing this, Lingshan took advantage of the large sword being bounced up again, her internal breath circulating, and her slender but powerful legs kicked hard, quickly kicking out like lightning, hitting the vital point of her throat. The Xiu foot wrapped in embroidered shoes did indeed kick, but the girl felt as if she had kicked on a piece of wood, which was very hard. You lost. Clamping the young girl's delicate feet with his chin, he placed a large sword around her neck, and Tian Hao said calmly. The iron cloth shirt has already been cultivated to an entry-level by him, with tough skin and the ability to instantly make the skin and muscles harder by stirring up strength. He has no problem defending his fists and feet. That's why I didn't pay attention to you Lingshan's kick, and also wanted to test the defense of the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt. The result is quite satisfactory. Shameless. Glancing at the large sword draped around her neck, Yu Lingshan was so angry that she wanted to bite someone. That guy is so shameless, how can he use those useless tactics? If there was nothing spilled, she didn't need to confront that guy hard, she could take it down with her body and sword techniques. Want to default on the debt? I just defaulted on the debt, how could I drip it? Stumbling her neck, Yu Lingshan was filled with dissatisfaction. Crab Iron Mountain. With a cold expression on his face, Tian Hao put down his big sword and used the Iron Mountain support of his horizontal crab iron cloth shirt to forcefully push the young girl forward, slamming her fiercely against the wall. His neck slipped, and the delicate foot caught in his chin landed on his shoulder. Their posture instantly became ambiguous. The fierce wall thud made Yu Lingshan feel stars in her eyes and pain in her organs. When she realized it, she realized the ambiguous posture of the two of them, feeling so embarrassed and angry that she almost went crazy. Damn it! I'm going to kill you. Don't give up yet. With a slightly raised eyebrow, Tian Hao didn't hesitate at all. He swung his fist and smashed it, not too hard, but enough to create a national treasure seal. Bang! Yu Lingshan, who had a bump in her eye socket, once again became silly and adorable, and then became even more crazy. Dead mouse. Bang! Unfortunately, he received another fist as big as a clay pot, and also received a punch in the other eye socket. Woo-woo, you bullied me, I want my dad to take care of you. The girl who became a national treasure finally couldn't help but cry. She cried so sadly and didn't forget to speak harshly. She must make her father punish that guy severely. Bang! Dot. Once again, with a silly and cute blink, Yu Lingshan's head went blank. My mother cried and you still fought. Are you still not a man? Do you admit defeat or not? Waving his iron fist again, Tian Hao asked coldly, saying that he was determined to win the 100-year-old 37. As for gentlemanly demeanor, it's not his style that favors beautiful women. And what's wrong with the beautiful woman? She still has to eat, drink, and have a shower. With the same nose and two eyes, why should she be given preferential treatment? As the new generation of the four halves in the new era, we adhere to gender equality. Moreover, this girl's intelligence is not up to par. If you dare to speak harshly in this situation, then the opponent is yourself. If it were a real enemy, it would have been ruined long ago. As a junior brother, Tian Hao believes that he has an obligation to let the junior sister know about the dangers of society. I give up. Realizing that the guy in front of her was a real animal, Yu Lingshan, full of grievances, could only give up. Send that 100-year 37 piece to Shenyang to make tonic diet. After seeing the young senior sister finally admit defeat and make a mistake, Tian Hao withdrew with satisfaction. I believe that with this experience, little elder martial sister will be more considerate when wandering the Jianghu in the future. You're shameless. Yu Lingshan's eyes were filled with anger, and if it weren't for the pain and soreness in her arms, she would have wanted to fight desperately with them. It's not that I'm shameless, but that you're too stupid, junior sister. That's Tian Hao shook his head in silence, unaware that he had not yet experienced the vicissitudes of society and that his heart was full of danger. Last time it was like this time it's still like this, stupid enough. It's indeed Lauderno, who was watching from the side, just realized and walked over with a strange expression. He picked up the water bag that Tian Hao had thrown on the ground, and there was indeed a smell of tea. There was even tea residue at the mouth of the water bag, which was obviously not the liquid that Tian Hao had previously mentioned. Little junior sister, don't be discouraged. This is just a sparring. The real martial arts world is much more vicious and sinister, and righteous people are just fine. However, those left wing people, especially the demons of the demon sect, can use all kinds of moves to the extreme. Once a pretty girl like you loses, her fate will be worse than death. Seeing the young girl still wanting to speak up, Lauderno sternly warned. Damn it. Angry, she stomped her feet, but the girl wisely did not meddle or harass anyone. After glaring at someone with hatred, she picked up the blue water sword and left. With that 100-year-old piece of 37 foot and your qualifications, I'm afraid you won't be able to cultivate the iron cloth shirt to the level of Xiaocheng in 3 years. Watching the girl leave, Lauderno turned around and congratulated. The power of Sanqi medicine, which has been around for 100 years, is amazing. When combined with some auxiliary medicines, boiling and taking them can greatly benefit the cultivation of external skills, especially horizontal practice. He was originally speculating that it would take Tian Hao 10 years to cultivate the iron cloth shirt to the level of Xiaocheng, but now it can be reduced to 3 years at once. Don't think it's too long. Iron cloth shirt is a simple way to get started with horizontal practice of external skills, but it becomes more difficult afterwards. This is because Tian Hao has a good physique, coupled with a foundation of embracing the essence, otherwise it would be impossible for him to cultivate to the entry-level in a month. I will need more help from my senior brother then, and he will definitely receive a generous reward in the future. Tian Hao was also very happy, but what he was thinking about was not 3 years to cultivate the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt to the level of Xiaocheng, but 3 months. After all, I have a group of cheats, but if I want to cultivate the horizontal crab iron cloth shirt to the level of Xiaocheng in 3 months, I must download my master's innate attributes. This job is not easy to do. This book is a world of comprehensive martial arts, which can be found in various dynasties, so the measurement and balance should be unified. According to modern standards, 3 feet are 1 meter, and the weight is also the same, which is convenient for everyone to understand. In terms of plot, corresponding modifications will also be made to rationalize, and individual anal emperors should not be too serious. Finally, I kneel down and beg for support. Please also throw out your valuable votes. Your support is my greatest motivation. End of this chapter.